The Branding Your Business podcast is for small business owners looking to build a customer favorite brand and a value-driven business. From solo shows covering marketing tactics to experts sharing their brand stories, each episode delivers actionable insights for entrepreneurs who want to impact the world. We're sharing how strategic moves and authentic connections can build a profitable business minus the burnout. Tune into the Branding Your Business podcast with me, Santos McKenna of Come Plum, to design a brand your audience adores while building a life you love. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Branding Your Business podcast. Again, my name is Santos McKenna of the branding studio Come Plum, and we are here today with a new friend of mine who I'll introduce here in a bit, but we have been part of a speaker community, just friends helping friends as we grow our businesses. And we saw each other and we're like, wait a minute, you're a fascinating person. We need to talk to each other and learn from each other, gain each other's wisdom. And so I'm so glad to hear on the podcast. So let me tell you a bit about Nata Salvatori. She is a seasoned educator and coach focusing on helping creative entrepreneurs grow their businesses. She's based in Florida. Shout out to my home state. And Nata has built multiple six-figure businesses and takes pride in mentoring entrepreneurs and other creatives to achieve their own success. Her journey from physical therapy to photography to coaching underscores her belief in her hard work, a strong mindset, and the power of pursuing one's passions. Amen and amen. Through her platform, Accidental CEO, she shares her journey from a novice to a successful entrepreneur, offering insights and guidance on building a profitable business venture. Her approach blends practical business strategies with mindset strategies, aiming to empower creatives to achieve financial success while pursuing their passion. There's already so much value alignment because it doesn't have to be either or, right? We've seen a lot of examples of entrepreneurs where it's like, okay, we just want to achieve X, get to this amount, and they lose kind of their souls in the process and why they started this in the process. But your story is so beautiful because one doesn't often go to PT school, which takes forever, by the way, work for a little bit as a physical therapist and then become a photographer, does that for a few years, launches a few apps along the way, which we'll touch on, and then ventures into coaching. This is not a common story. So can you tell us a little bit more, Nata, like how did these twists and turns happen in your story? I love the term accidental CEO because it's not like you were a young woman going to college and thought to yourself, oh, I'm going to change my career several times. How did this all happen?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me, Praise. I'm so excited to be talking to you today and your audience. So definitely appreciate the opportunity. Yeah, I do have a crazy story in many, many ways. And I'll try to keep it concise, but give you guys plenty of information. Came to the US to go to college as a volleyball player. Got here with $30 and no English in my vocabulary. And here we are today. So I went through a physical therapy school, which was my goal was to be a physical therapist. Even when I left Brazil, that was, my intention. And so went to college, then moved on to getting my doctorate degree in physical therapy and had no intention of doing anything else. It was a 7-year, on top of, and then I did 2 more years to get a residency program and a fellowship program, which is a very unique training. And just within that population, even only about 1% to 2% of the population have residency and fellowship training when it comes to physical therapists. So I was doing really well. Loved what I did. I was helping people. I was teaching other physical therapists. So I was teaching at university level at a doctorate program, presenting at conferences, training therapists day to day. I really loved what I was doing. I was working for a nonprofit organization. And at some point there was some, I would say probably changing leadership is what kind of triggered all the changes that made me start thinking, like, if I wasn't doing this anymore, what would I do with my life? Like, what would be my other options? And so when I went through that mental exercise and said, you can't be a physical therapist anymore, that's not an option. Let's say that's not an option. What would you do? So the careers that came to mind at that point were I would go to medical school and be a surgeon because I love the OR and the idea of, just doing that kind of work. Or I would be a interior designer or a photographer. Those were the things that kind of were attractive to me at that point. do have two little kids at home, so I wanted to be spending a little bit more time with them. As they were getting older, they were becoming a little bit more aware of when I was not home and not participating in their life. And as a PT, I didn't work 8 to 5. Like I had weekend, classes that I had to teach. I was running a residency program, so I was busy. So I wanted to find a little bit more flexibility with my time. And so I started looking into these possibilities. And obviously the easiest one of those three at that time was photography. So I decided, let me just start playing with this on the side on my free time, just to see what happens. And picked up a camera for the first time, I would say probably December of 2018. And shot my first wedding in March of 2019. I do things very quickly. As far as learning, I do love learning. I call myself a pathological learner. I love learning new things and keeping my brain kind of occupied and entertained. So I was still working with people. It was something fun and it just in a different kind of time in their lives. So during the pandemic, I was actually able to make 6 figures with a photography business on the side, which led me to think, well, I think we can do this full time, I think it's going to be okay. So with the support of my husband and some motivation there, kind of finally made the jump into photography full time. Because I have some good amount of background in business and I'm very just business oriented, I was able to grow my photography business really fast to multiple 6 figures and just growing a team. I now have 2 brands that work on weddings and families with photography and videography. So very often I would get my friends and colleagues ask me questions about business. And that's where the coaching kind of started coming back into my life, because I was basically a coach and a mentor for many years in the healthcare arena. And so to me, it was an easy transition and something I was actually missing in my life. I really enjoy helping people figure things out and just be successful and just watch them achieve their goals and get to that point where they wanted to be is such a rewarding experience. So coaching was back into my life and I am loving it. And I'm speaking again and I am teaching again. So super excited to be back in this area of my life.
There are so many points to that story that are just like, ooh, I have questions about that. Oh
I'm
my goodness,
sure.
I have questions about that. But there's a theme I see here too, which is also just life's wisdom. Like you couldn't have planned some of these changes and pivots. You were able to take the circumstances, see them
Yeah.
before you, and then make an intentional choice and respond, right? And there's a few things that we talk to a lot of our clients and to a lot of our interviewees as well of, you had like a gut feeling, even when you were working as a PT and you were working at this organization, there was a leadership change and there was something that wasn't aligning with you, that it seems like it helped you step back and question, is this what I really want to be doing? There's that leadership change. And then there was also some circumstances in your life which led you to think, okay, my kids will only be little for so long. How can I spend time with them? And so you took those
Yeah.
circumstances and made a choice. But what's really interesting is that not everyone listens to when they have those opportunities presented in front of them. Do you think that's something that you have honed in over time? Or were you born with, I got a gut feeling this is good, I'm going to go for this? Or is it something you're like, no praise, I've made a ton of mistakes and so I've learned since then? Or maybe a combination?
Yeah, I was going to say yes and yes is the answer to that. So I've always been very observant and I'll say probably intuitive. So I would always joke that I was the kind of kid that didn't have to make the mistakes to learn from it. I would just watch you burn your hand in the stove and be like, yep, that's not a good idea to touch that. Like I didn't have to go touch it for myself. So I was always really good at watching other people and learning from them. And obviously that helps a ton when it comes to any profession. But I've also learned to listen to my gut. Like you said, there is a reason why those feelings are there. And there's usually a reason why your mind keeps going back to that one thing and that one opportunity. So I encourage people to listen to it and have conversations about it with people that you trust. Bring it up, talk through it, because sometimes all you need is somebody to bounce some ideas back and forth with, and they would help you see things a little bit more clear. Because sometimes we're looking at things from a specific perspective, and all we need is, somebody else to mention something and you're like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Like, why did I not see that before? So I definitely encourage you to listen to those feelings, but have some good follow-up conversations with some people that you trust in your life.
Yes, 100%, because it's a conversation with ourselves, first of all, to like
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge the feeling and then be brave enough to talk to people in our lives that we trust. If they're lucky enough to be one of your coachees, it would be great to have you as a
Yep.
coach, but there's plenty of people in our lives who can provide wisdom or insight, which was really interesting because it sounds like before you formally got into coaching, it was people in your life naturally who saw, look at her, what she did. She built a six-figure business, it seems like overnight, like in 6 months, a year. And so they started asking you. And I love that you knew so much about yourself. Like, wait, I missed this teaching part. I used to teach when I was
Mm-hmm.
in medicine. Now I get to teach again too. Like, I just want to applaud you. If you haven't celebrated yourself recently of coming to the United States with $30 and building multiple six-figure businesses, I just want to celebrate you with that too. So
Thank
I don't
you.
know if people are also coming to you with similar stories. Have you discovered things within your coaching that you're like, oh, this is even more in line with my experience and how I'm wired?
Yeah, I think a lot of the people that gravitate towards my kind of coaching are people who they already have their business, they are started their business, but they're getting a little bit stuck. Like they're ready to scale, they're ready to get to the next level, whatever that means to them. For some people, that means make more money. To some people, that means reduce the amount of time that they're working so they have more time for family. Whatever it is, they're ready to that next phase of things. They just can't see a clear vision of how to get there. Right. So I'm very good at asking questions to help you get there. I can maybe see it before you and be like, this is the path we need to follow. But I'm very patient. And that's probably something that came from my physical therapy training to, having to be able to allow my students to treat my patients. So being able to sit back and allow them to make mistakes, as long as they were not going to hurt my patient, I would let them make mistakes and then we'll talk about it afterwards of why I should have been done a different way. But really trying to understand like how to guide you to get to that point you need to get to. So a lot of that came from, I'm pretty sure, that kind of training of being a mentor and being a coach in healthcare, in allowing people to get to that conclusion on their own, because they're way more likely to stick to the plan if they are the ones that saw it. I think that's a lot of what I do for clients, is to help them scale, make more money, work less, and in a way that just clarifies their vision and the steps they need to take to get there quickly. I'm a very fast work person. Like, we're not going to take 10 years to get this done. Like, we're going to meet, it's going to be intense, and it's going to be productive. And then I expect you to get going afterwards, and we're going to follow up, and I'm going to hold you accountable. So, just the same way that I move quickly when I'm making business decisions, not without thinking, but like, action is very important. We can think all we want about everything, but if we don't take action, nothing happens. So I'm very much an action driven person. And that's kind of like what I try to just, share with my clients. And that's the people that gravitate towards the kind of coaching that I do.
Yes, which is so interesting. And this is for people. I know when I was looking around for a coach, there is such a chemistry fit too, right? Because even if this person can get you similar results, it really is that click because someone's teaching style will match your learning style really well. It might have to do with their personality or even their story too. And so I love that quick is one of your
Yeah.
keywords just based on your own story too. What are other traits that you've seen that you've integrated into your multiple income streams, multiple business too? So is it quick? I hear very like student oriented. Are there other words or values that you try to integrate into all the work that you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think mindset is a huge thing for me. I'm again known by my peers for having a very specific kind of mindset that helps me get things done. So that is 100% part of the training that I offer to my clients, because I truly believe that you cannot grow your business without growing yourself. And that's something that when people come to me saying that they have a lead problem, or they're not making as much money, usually that's not really the problem. We usually find out there's something else going on, and very often it has to do with mindset. However, very interesting enough, people are not out there looking to spend money on mindset. They want results. They want business, concrete strategies, and they want it now. So mindset is just part of what I implement when I'm working with people, and it will be there. You don't have to pay for it. I have to ask for it. It's going to be part of what I do, because I truly believe that, understanding how to be confident as a business owner, how to be resilient, how to be adaptable, all those things are so important when it comes to being successful, that there's no way I can teach you enough business strategies that are going to make you win and get to your goal without implementing some of that mindset shift. So that's going to be everywhere.
I love that. And I've talked about this before, in that oftentimes you are selling one thing in a business, right? Like in your coaching, you are selling transformation, business strategies, etc., to get you from A to B. But what you're actually giving them is not only that, you're helping them with a personal transformation too, just because
Yeah.
the world is a big place. And if they really wanted to find that strategy, someone has it for free online, but there's a reason why they're not able to do it, right? There's a reason why they need a coach, someone in their corner, someone who can ask them the right questions, someone who can challenge them and say, is that the real problem? Or what do you think about this instead? To kind
Yeah.
of point that out. And that's is why we're communal creatures. We need people in our lives to be able to point out those things, challenge us, and also model for us too. I imagine that a lot of your personal story of mindset shifts helps with your clients as well, of like, hey, I used to think this way. Now I had to shift this so I could get to here. Makes such a big difference. I am very similar to you. Truly, like we have so much in common in that I would love to just watch someone else's mistakes. I don't need to go through it?
Right.
And so, as much as I can be surrounded by people who are doing the thing or whose mindset is a certain way, I just hope it rubs off on me too. Which, another question I want to ask you, and that we're talking about bringing the right people around you, bringing the right people so they can influence your mindset, influence your business too. On your platform, you talk so much about being a CEO and especially about delegating and building your team and giving things to others that are not in your zone of genius so that other people can take it forward. But since this is the Branding Your Business podcast, and we teach a lot of our small business owners how to integrate kind of that special thing into their business so that they can be known for that. This is my question about delegating. You know how oftentimes we have a special sauce, right? Like there's a reason why folks hired you to be their coach, but there's many coaches who have coaches under them. How do we continue to make sure that the folks under us, other subcontractors, other employees, still carry the part of our business that we want people to feel and experience, even though it's not us doing it? I'm just curious to hear how you teach people in your corner to do that.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, a lot of people have this fear of, if I delegate, I lose control of my business, or my business will lose the identity of it. And at the end of the day, what you are gaining control of when you delegate is your time and your energy and your ability to put that CEO hat on and really grow and be the visionary for your business. Because if you are so tied out on the day-to-day tasks, there is no time for ideation. There's no time for you to be a visionary. There's no time for you to see the future of your company, and there'll be no growth, right? So before you even consider going out there and hiring somebody, what you need to do is take a good look at what tasks are you doing day in and day out in your business, making a list of those. I usually recommend people to keep a little notepad by their desk for 1 week and write down, make a list of every task that you do during that week, every new task. Are you answering your emails? Are you sending out quotes? Are you scheduling interviews? Whatever it is that you do, make a list for 1 week. You're going to have a pretty good idea of all the tasks that are part of your business. And then there's many ways you can work this out, but the main point is understanding then what needs to be tasks that you're going to keep as the business owner and founder and visionary, and tasks that you're going to give it to somebody else that you do not need to be spending your time and your talent in. So, do you need to be the one answering emails? Do you need to be the one scheduling these interviews? Absolutely not. Like, your talent, it costs too much for your business for you to be spending your time on that. Think about if you're hiring yourself for your business. How much would it cost your business for you to spend an hour scheduling clients or answering emails? And how much money would your business be making during that time? So if you're not making money, if you're not doing tasks that are making money for your business, you should not be doing them. Those should be tasks that you're delegating to somebody else. So it's really taking a step back and putting that CEO hat and trying to start thinking of how can I better allocate my time that's going to help my company grow. Delegating does not mean losing control, losing your identity. It's when you take the time to really deconstruct what made your business, and what are the processes and procedures that you use and the client experience that you built, and pass that on to the people that are going to be supporting you. None of that structure is going to be lost. It's still going to be your business and the experience that you pass it on. It's just not going to be you doing those little day-to-day tasks.
That's so good, and such a good reminder of even stepping back. Can you afford to pay yourself to do these things?
Yeah.
When we know that if Praise was Praise's employee, her time is most valuable maybe on sales calls. We know she's making money, but is it really valuable if she's just in Google Calendar scheduling things back and forth? But I think that's a very good question. And again, a mindset shift that
Yeah.
we all have to think about too. And you answered this question well, in that when we look back and see the client experience we create, which is so much about building our brands, we can teach that. We can really pass that on. And as we get the space and time to sit in the visionary seat, sit in the CEO seat, that's when we can really be like, okay, well, this person who's helping me with emails, let's make sure she speaks in this tone or signs off in this way, so that you're not going in and still writing all the emails. You can make the little tweaks that still maintains the client experience and maintains the feeling of your brand without having you do all the stuff. Because I've been looking, they still haven't made the duplication machine. I am still one person. Our listeners are still one person. And
Yeah.
so we just have to start delegating things out, which, in your experience of running your own business and coaching others, is there a magic spot when people should start hiring out? Is it as soon as they start a business? Is it when they hit their first 6 figures? Is it when they're just building momentum, or is it different for every person?
Yeah, I'm sure it's definitely different for every person. And, I hear a lot. I was just in a meeting earlier today, and somebody was saying how they were, they have all this business now and they're trying to figure out how they're going to take care of it this weekend. And then somebody else mentioned, like, oh, it sounds like it's time to hire a team. And that person was like, oh, no, the business has been slow. I want to make sure I keep all this money right now, just in case. And, so it's different for everybody. But I think what we need to pay attention to is, am I just spending all of the available time that I have working in the business? If you're having no time left to work on your business and really that's keeping you from growing, then that's time to start looking to add somebody. And I'm not saying go ahead and hire a full-time employee right away. You can hire somebody part-time. You can hire somebody on an hourly basis, like have a contractor work for you just to kind of feel how things are going to go and then increase from there. But you'll be amazed of how much more you can accomplish and how much more you can grow when you actually take the time to delegate those things to somebody else. And now you have this free time and you're like, oh my gosh, when was the last time I actually took time to learn something that's going to make this business better? When was the last time that I actually attended an educational event that's going to help me network with people that are the goal of who I want to be hanging out in the industry? It's going to start allowing you to do all these different things that you haven't even had the time to think about because you're so much on the grind of day in and day out of your business. So I feel like when you started to see no time at all left for that visionary CEO kind of role, that is probably a good clue that it's time to consider that. I don't think it has so much to do with money. It has a lot more to do with how your time is being used in your business.
That is so good. Just asking yourself, when was the last time I got to work on my business and work on things
Hmm.
that'll help me grow and learn versus just in the day-to-day tasks. That
Yeah.
is so, so good. Which I know that you've grown all these businesses. What are you working toward? Like, how will Nata know, like, this is what I want for me? I want it to run by itself and I spend all my time with my family. Or you're like, no, I don't want that. I want to be a TEDx speaker. I want to do this. Is there something that you're like, I know I've made it, or maybe I've already made it and I knew when I could do this? So what was that like for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I try to often kind of take the time to analyze how far I've come and where I want to go. So I do look at this, fairly often. And I did accomplish a lot of what I wanted to accomplish from a lifestyle standpoint. So the time that I want to spend with family and traveling is something I absolutely adore. I do a ton of traveling now with my clients. I want to do more traveling with my family. Always be more than happy to spend more time with my family. My goal is to have a lot of my businesses being able to run without my physical presence. So I want to make sure that things can keep going at a high quality, high volume, high income without me having to spend the time on these businesses. So that's my main goal. As a coach, I wanted to continue to do just one-on-one work with my clients. That is my jam. That's what I love and what I'm passionate about. At this time, I'm not going to say never, because I've said never so many times that I went back on it. But at this time, I have no intentions on doing anything like big when it comes to like a group coaching or membership or anything like that. I do cherish the one-on-one time with my clients. But, big goals for me is be on more stages, continue to share the message of, the mindset shifts and the growth that you need to have as a business owner. Maybe there is one more project out there in the near future. I'm going to put it out here so you guys can hold me accountable. I would like to write a book,
See that
and
for
I
you.
have plans for that I haven't started to play with it yet, but it's all planned in my head. So those are the big things coming up for me. And I think my success will be defined with, by just my ability to make enough financially to take care of the people that I love and to provide a good legacy for my kids and just have time to enjoy their presence and, continue to help other people.
I love that. Yeah. You sound like you're a person of service. There's still so much more that you want to
Oh,
give.
yeah.
I also love that you honed in on one-on-one is your jam. I know a lot of coaches are building out like mega memberships. We have thousands, and you're like, as of right now, this is not my thing.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of a book. I love books when it's written to just that person who needs to hear, but multiple people can read it. Also dig. Sometimes we just have to put it out there on a recording, say it to a friend so
Oh, yeah.
that we get used to saying it, right? But when you said it, how did it feel? Did it kind of scare you, or were you like, this feels right? Or
No, this feels right. I'm gonna say I'm pretty ballsy and very courageous, as you can tell by just the stories I've been telling you. So I love, like, I have no problem saying things and holding myself accountable for it. So that is on my mind. We'll eventually start on it, but it's all planned already.
it's in here, it's coming out
It's all
now.
in
Just
here.
pen to paper or fingers to the
Yeah,
keyboard. It's
no, it
gonna
feels
come
good. I'm
out soon.
excited. I'm excited to do that.
Okay, I love to hear it. As I mentioned in the beginning, Nata and I met because we are part of a speakers group, just a few people who are helping build each other up. And Nata is also claiming to get on more stages, share
Hmm.
this mindset perspective, share this leadership perspective too. It is really interesting as I've seen a lot of folks in business and personal brands grow. There are some businesses I really admire and some businesses that are kind of a warning sign to me of like, "Ooh, I don't want to create that." What is your insight into our industry of just business, entrepreneurship? Are there changes or hopes and dreams that you have for our industry?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of noise right now. A lot of noise, a lot of things, a lot of people looking for a quick fix and shortcuts for things. I love that meme, like, how many years did it take for you to be to turn into an overnight sensation, right? So, like, it does take hard work, but I would love for our industry to continue to encourage people to get together when they need to learn and support each other. So I would like to see more good quality conferences out there and education platforms. I would love to see more coaches taking the time to really learn what the problem of their clients are before they try to push a solution onto them. Because I do believe our problems are so different, and you can get 10 people that run the exact same business, and they all going to have a different problem and barrier they're trying to overcome. So I would like for people to maybe just slow down a little bit and take the time to really get to the problem itself before they try to solve it. And I would like for people to be more willing and understanding that they do need some help. Just accept that you cannot do this alone. We all grow faster and better with help. So looking for those educational opportunities, it can be in a larger scale or from a one-on-one coaching standpoint, like ask for help. Like you can move so much faster when there's somebody else kind of help you with all those things you're getting stuck with. So overall, more opportunities for people to learn and support each other, slowing things down to really learn what your client needs and not be afraid to ask for help and really take the plunge into investing in yourself to grow your business.
Yes, I echo a lot of this because this is more, it's not male and female, but as much as like masculine, feminine, of being able to step back, slow down. And if we really want to serve and help people, it sounds like we really have to listen to them and make solutions for what the problems are telling us and not making assumptions as to what people need, because we'll actually be able to help more people when we listen to them well, slow down. And it's two-part. It's us listening to them well and folks being able to voice what they need help with. And so it's a change that's needed in our industry. Hey, people, speak up, and hey, we're listening. We're not going to jump immediately by just talking to one person or one little pain point. We're going to listen to several people and see if there's a trend and then create this thing too. I think that is such good wisdom and business advice, and also really interesting from the queen of quick too, to say, actually, I do like fast result. And it comes from the slowing down, being really intentional about the decisions you're making first in your business and then acting on it, not getting stuck in that, what do we call it? Analysis paralysis. We can think and think and think. We don't want to stay there. We want to be slow in the listening. We want to be slow in the intake.
It's kind of reverse. People are being quick to try to solve the problem and not taking the time to listen. So, take the time to listen. It's okay to slow down on that part and really understand. And then you can come up with some quick solutions and plans to follow. Right now, what's happening is you're quick to try to address things and you didn't listen. And then people are taking forever to be able to actually implement that and do it because they just didn't take the time to really break that down.
That is so good. It's energy pacing at the right areas of when to go quick, when to go to slow, and deciding on that correctly. Well, speaking of slow, we're actually going to do the opposite and do something which is actually very reactive.
Ooh.
And that we're going to end our interview with a game, and it's just word association. And so I did not prompt any of this to Nata. I haven't told her any of this, but I just want to see what happens when I words, and you're just going to give me the first word that pops into your mind, even if it's not PC. Like, let's just feel this out.
That was always interesting to me as English is a second language. It's always like, what is going to come up?
Say something in Portuguese, please do.
My brain doesn't even think Portuguese anymore, girl. It's been gone.
That's what I've heard a lot about that. It's when you're immersed in the culture, right? It starts to. Well, real question. What do you get angry in? What language do you get angry in? Is it Portuguese or English?
It will probably be English if I did get angry. I'm not angry. I don't get angry. That to me is just a waste of energy. I'm like,
she's chill vibes.
Yeah, but totally English. Yes, it would not be Portuguese. I can tell you that.
Portuguese. Okay, well, we'll see if Portuguese comes out in word association. Totally okay if it does. But okay, are you ready for your first word?
I'm ready.
Okay, podcast.
Learning.
LinkedIn.
Connecting.
Stanley Cups. Do you know what those are?
Unnecessary status. Don't hate me, people. Don't hate me.
It's just real talk. It's real talk. Okay, other word. Vacation.
New place.
Lunch.
Love it.
Relaxation.
Something I need to do more of.
Last word.
Energy.
You crushed this word association game.
There you go. Beautiful.
You crushed it. Yeah. and all the unnecessary status opinions in the process. It's so fun. I think I've asked that. I've presented that word to a couple people because I'm also just so curious. Oh, you know what I should have said? Is it trending right now in Florida? Small Trader Joe's bags. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't. But again,
Apparently, they're going viral. So
wow. Like,
also weird
yeah.
stat. People are paying hundreds of dollars on resale
Yeah,
platforms to
I'd
buy
rather
this. Like,
spend more money in experience. I'm an experience girl. So,
she's an experienced girl, people. I love that. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story. I loved your insights. I love the businesses you're building. And I know that our listeners who have so many of those kind of gut feelings or those circumstances presented to them right now, them hearing your story of just taking the next right steps, seeking wisdom, and doing things wisely and quickly, but listening slowly and intentionally, I think will really help them brand their businesses as they're growing their business and their life. I know that so many people fell in love with your story and want to connect with you more. How can they find you and get more connected to the work that you do?
yeah, so there's usually two places that I tell people to hit to find me. Number one, we have an app for accidental CEO. So if you just go to the App Store and you search accidental CEO, our app is going to come up. And our app has mini courses and some community and tracking features for you. So it's just a great way to kind of get exposed to a little bit of my teaching style before you hire me as a coach. So it's just a great resource for you. You can hang out, do some tracking, and learn some fun stuff. So Accidental CEO app. And then you can definitely send me a DM on Instagram. I'm in there a lot at accidentalceo.co. I would love to chat, ask questions, let me know what you need, and I'm there for you.
Yay. Okay. Well, follow her online, get connected. So many good resources. Nata, thank you so much. We love to be in your front row, just seeing what you're continually building, both quickly and slowly. So thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you.